Welcome back to the show, folks. This is the Upper Tier Podcast. It's Thursday Tier Talk on your screens. Not Dazzler with me tonight, as always. He's away on vacation still in either Boston or New York, I think, having a great time. But joining me tonight, a familiar face to the show from Henry Ray Baker channel, of course. Make sure you go over there, sub to the channel, give a like and a share, all that good stuff. Henry,
Yes.
how are you, my friend?
Thank you very much, Niall. Hi, everybody. Richie, Acers, lovely to see you all. Yes.
Well, well,
I
tonight we'll
must
be. Go
see. I've
ahead, yeah.
got glasses for the first time in ages.
I am not surprised at all, my friend, with the amount of content you're churning out. If you check out Henry's channel, not only is he churning out content on a daily basis, he's churning out multiple content on a daily basis. So you see a lot of content creators at the moment maybe hit it once a day. Henry, I think you're hitting it what, nearly twice, three times a day, nearly on average.
Yeah, but they keep steaming up for some reason. I don't know why. I have to keep wiping them.
That's the heat that this show brings, the upper tier.
Ha
Well, as
ha
normal.
ha! Very funny.
Well, as
Yeah.
normal, folks, we're going to be bringing you a full show tonight. We're going to do a Premier League preview.
Yes.
We're going to be taking a look at the Carabao Cup draw that happened last night. We're going to take a look at the Champions League draw, very interesting draw that just happened this evening. And we're also going to be doing
But
a little bit of beat the bookie here, our picks and tips for the weekend. So I picked out a few bets there in Darren's absence and stuff like that. Let us let us know your thoughts in the comments. Of course, we're also probably going to get around to talking eventually about the news that Ryan Gravenberch is on his way to Liverpool for a medical deal agreed with Bayern Munich, 40 million euros. Sure to be a very good signing, but we won't get too hyped yet till we see him there holding the jersey, Henry. Till he's there holding the jersey and the deal is done, that's when we know it's done. Um, don't forget tomorrow night, 7 o'clock, I think it is, or 8 o'clock. I'm going to be doing an Aston Villa preview. And then 10 o'clock tomorrow night, we will be counting down to deadline day, which ends tomorrow night at 11 o'clock. We will be reviewing all the Premier League business, the ins, the outs, the loans, the last minute
oh,
deals, what teams have done, what they haven't done, what they should have done, and all that kind of stuff. So it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting hour. Hopefully, we get loads of deals flying in last hour as well. Surely there's going to be a lot of loans and everything going on. Lots of teams in the Premier League at the moment with plenty of business still to do. Before we start on our Premier League preview, let's get into the comments. Ian's there. Richie, how are you, my friend? All good. Acers, of course, always in. Crazy that for the first time in 20 years, Champions League won't have Ronaldo and Messi
yes.
playing in it. Interesting. Richie, I'll be 42 next week.
Oh, God.
42 years young. Congratulations. Don't
I
forget.
can't even remember when I was 42.
42 is now the new 20. But yeah, but
I
make sure you
wish.
let make sure you let us know next week as well, and we'll give you a big shout out on it and stuff like that as we always do. Daz, what's the crack? Noel at Henry as well. All good,
Hi,
Daz. Good to see
Daz.
you there, my man. And Richie's back in. Love the glasses, Henry. The
Thank you,
glasses are going
Richie.
down a tree. They're very happy with them. And Aces is in. Europa League draw live 12 p.m. tomorrow. There you go. Aces with the critical information that we sometimes need. So there you go. So Henry, you were saying Ensman is going live at a quarter to 12. So 12 o'clock draw. Yeah,
Mm.
good stuff. So we'll take a look at that as part of probably the Aston Villa preview. I'm not sure whether I'll get time to preview it on its own. Just flat out this week with content, trying to catch up with being away. Right, let's get into this Premier League preview for the weekend. And we start off, of course, tomorrow night. Luton getting their first home fixture in their ground. Everything taken care of now. Safety, all the protocols of the Premier League look like they're in place. And they're welcoming in no less than West Ham, who are on a tear at the moment. 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Any thoughts on this one, Henry?
Well, well, when Luton came up from the Championship, that was brilliant. To be able to get promotion. I'm happy for them to be in the Premiership, but they should have started working on that stadium and pitch and whatever, more or less straight after, to get it up for scratch. Because then starting to play games, I thought they would be behind the rest of the Premier League. They've had a baptism of fire because this is now the top league until the Super League comes around.
Yeah.
West Ham under David Moyes. I think it could be a test for David Moyes because without Rice, who was controlling that midfield, I think I would go for a 1-1 draw, and Luton will be able to get something out of it.
Well, I'm different to that. I think West Ham are absolutely going to smash them. West Ham are flying at the moment under David Moyes, second in the league. Luton second from bottom. Luton really haven't put in the investment that they kind of needed to, in terms of showing that kind of statement of intent of wanting to stay in the Premier League. I think it looks like they're kind of happy, and no disrespect to Luton or the fans, I think they're kind of happy to take part in the Premier League this year and take the riches and the spoils of it and probably go back down to the Championship. I think they're going to struggle. They do have a really tight ground there and stuff like that, which can be tough to play football on. But I think West Ham are going to be too strong for them. Being so impressed with West Ham this season so far. They've hit the ground and they haven't missed Rice one bit. They've been on a tear. Second in the league, 3 games, 4+ goal difference, 7 points. I can see nothing only West Ham tomorrow night from this one, especially on a Friday night as well. So yeah, I'm going to go for a West Ham, and I'm going to go possibly by 3 or 4. That's what I'm thinking.
I don't like these Friday kickoffs.
Yeah.
I think it should be Saturday, Sunday, and the one on the Monday. But aren't we coming towards a break?
After this we have it's after this round of fixtures. That's why they probably flipped it from the Monday to the Friday. I suppose the good thing about it is you get more televised games, which means you get more money being pumped into the club. So the likes of Luton and West Ham and all, rather than just being a 3:00 game or something like that. So I think it's a good thing. But I can't see anything in Luton for this at all. And I expect West Ham tomorrow night to be top of the league going into the weekend, to be honest. Daz reckons 2-0. Acers reckons easy 3 points. Acers, it's so frustrating and annoying that Liverpool versus Aston Villa game isn't on Sky on Sunday. It's only frustrating and annoying when you're not in the know, my friend. When you're in the know, my friend, you should not have a problem. If you want to watch the games, we've said it before, get yourself a VPN, Surfshark or something like that, and you can set your country to America. You can sign up to Peacock, and I think Peacock is it's either $5.99 or $6.99 a month, and they show all the games. You can pick whatever game you want. So never be frustrated at games not being shown. There's always a way to watch any game you want, and that's all perfectly legal as well. It's not illegal in any way. Saturday, lunchtime, Sheffield United versus Everton. 2 teams that are both equally as struggling. 2 teams that have played 3 games, big minus goal differences, both with 0 points. So this is like a prelude to a 6-pointer relegation battle, really, isn't it?
Yes. I don't give them either a chance. This is like the relegation battle already, because Everton are already in it. I think even with the relegation, it's hard to predict scorelines because both teams are bad.
I think with this one, Sheffield United were very unlucky last weekend. They rode the Man City storm, and they were within 5 minutes of taking points off Man City. Bogle, member, got the equaliser, and then Rodri came up with a blaster of a goal to take the points. So Sheffield, so Sheffield United have a bit about them. I know Man City and Haaland had a bunch of chances, didn't take them, but you would expect that when it's Man City. For Everton, they were really, really struggling up until playing, I think it was last night. They brought in the boy, they've signed the boy off Udinese, I think his name is Beto. He's a striker. He's had 10 goals in 34 games, I think, for Udinese. Looks a really, really good player. Looked proper sharp last night when he came on for them. Scored the equaliser, as far as I know. So he could be that kind of unknown going in there. If it had been just on the way it was the previous weekend, I would have fancied Sheffield United probably to take something from this. But I'm looking at it at the moment, and I'm thinking a low score draw, 1-1. That's my thinking on this one.
Well, if you're looking to try and give one team 3 points, or giving both a point for the draw, I'm tending to be more in the point section rather than saying like Sheffield United 3 points, because I don't think Everton are good enough. Not because I'm biased, because I can't stand Everton. But I just.
You think Sheffield United at home will have a bit more for them? Just a bit too much.
No, I just think. I think it'd be a goalless draw.
Goalless draw. Right. I do fancy the boy Beto to get a goal, but I'd fancy maybe. Who was the boy last week who cropped up with the goal against City? Bogle, wasn't it? Bogle was his name. He might be able to do something again. He looked a decent player and stuff like that. So we'll see what happens. I'm kind of leaning towards. I think probably because both defenses are so poor, I think there'll probably be goals in it. But I think it'll be a low scoring draw, 1-1. I think. You're going for a 0-0, Henry, are you?
I'm predicting other scores than that one. The Sheffield United, Everton, Brentford, Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Would be a better one to predict.
Yeah, that's our first 3 o'clock.
Would be. Brentford are a good side. Bournemouth, they beat us 1-0, so they have some kind of history, and they've got Solanke. But I think Brentford will get the 3 points Saturday.
Yeah. Brentford at home will be too strong for them, I think.
Yeah.
Bournemouth, even missing Ivan Toney at the moment, they've 5 points from 3 games, so it's not a bad return and a positive goal difference of 3. So Brentford are doing okay. But Bournemouth, I think, are struggling as well. They're back down around at 1 point from 3, minus 4 goal difference. So they're shipping goals. But also the fitness of Billing will be key to them, as we've seen. When he was injured playing against us and stuff like that, they really struggled. I'm sure he's probably okay now, but he's a big player for them. So I don't see a lot in this for Bournemouth. But I do see quite an open game. Because both teams, especially Bournemouth, are actually giving up goals and stuff like that. So they might be a little bit open, and Brentford might be able to take advantage of that. So I see Brentford coming out of this maybe 2-3-1. That's my thinking on it.
But obviously it depends what the starting lineups are and what players are on the bench to maybe influence the game.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, obviously Brentford missing Tony is a big one, but they seem to have been doing all right so far. Ema's on there. Do you remember back in the day when they used to show live football matches on BBC? Yeah,
Mm.
yeah, we do. We do. I mean, you're showing your age now. I told you you were 20, not 42. And
Yeah, well,
Daz,
I mean, when you go back to St. Greavesy, Grandstand with Death Lineham,
yeah,
which was what I do on a Saturday afternoon. Um, but those are the days with the CFAX and the telex system and everything.
yeah,
It's just you can't compare
mm,
what was back then and all the fun we had back then to what it is
yeah.
now with Soccer Saturday without Jeff Stelling and the gang.
Yeah, that teletext and CFAX used to ratchet up my anxiety. Something terrible on a Saturday.
Giving away our
you'd be
ages.
you'd be pressing it to get it updated and refreshed and all and stuff like that. Crazy stuff. Daz is in going 1-1. I think that's probably for the Sheffield United Everton game. Acers is in talking about Tottenham win, both teams to score. Tottenham and both teams to score. That's up next. Burnley and Spurs up next. I kind of agree with
Ooh.
Acers, although I'm not sure whether Burnley score. I think Tottenham will win. I think Burnley have struggled. They're down in 18th at the moment. No wins in two. -5 goal difference. Shipping goals. This is a very different Burnley than we seen in the Championship last year. And we also seen it last year when they stepped up into the Cup game and how the difference in the gulf of class. We were expecting a lot from Burnley in that Cup game. Was it against United or was it against City? I think it was against United, wasn't it? They played, I think. And I think they really struggled against Premier League opposition. How they looked brilliant in the Championship. They were free flowing, scoring goals, absolutely flying. But they've come up into the Premier League now and they look like they could struggle. And Tottenham at the moment, of course, absolutely flying on the range as well. Third in the league, 7 points and 3, +4. Don't look like they're missing Harry Kane too much, although they crashed out of the Europa League there during the week, but that just might be potentially a blessing in disguise maybe for Spurs. They don't have a huge squad. But I can see Spurs winning this 3-1, maybe 3-0.
Yeah, Burnley, I quite agree with you, are struggling because they are first season in the Premier League. Where Spurs are adapting to playing without Harry Kane. So it's adjustment for both sides. I think even though Burnley are playing at home,
Yeah, that's the one, Acers,
and being under Vincent Kompany, I mean, he's done a marvellous job to get them into the Premier League. I think they will fall short of beating Spurs. But they might get one goal. I think it could possibly be like 2-1 to Spurs.
You think it'll be slightly tighter?
Burnley will win.
Yeah. Yeah, you're agreeing kind of with Acers, what Acer said. He thinks Spurs will win and both teams will score. So probably 2-1, 3-1, whatever it is. Morris is in. How we doing, Morris? Good to see you. Company is too expansive
Morris.
Because the opposition in the Premier League is much of a higher standard. He needs a plan B. Big up, lads. Yeah, he needs to just kind of play within I think the thing I've seen with Company so far this season, he's not playing within the quality of the player and the strength and the attributes of the players that he has. He's trying to play really nice football, and because of that, he's getting open because he doesn't have the quality there to play the way he wants to play within his mindset for the Premier League. I think Morris there is spot on with that one. Daz is in. All right, Morris, how are you? And Acers, enjoy watching Burnley documentary on Sky at the moment. Yeah, it's really good. And the Newcastle one is really good as well. I don't know if you've caught either of them, Henry. Amazon are doing the Newcastle one at the moment. It's really good. And the Burnley one on Sky Docs is cool as well. Really, really good.
I think also because certain players have gone to Saudi, it's giving a great opportunity to players that were underneath those like starting players to give a good account of themselves. Because if you're playing in the shadow of someone else, you're not really showing your full potential. So like with Harry Kane going to Bayern, that you still got like Son, Sky, Rickarlson, any number of players that can now branch out and show their true worth if they
step out of the shadow of Harry Kane. Step out of the shadow of Harry Kane. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Chelsea versus Nottingham Forest. This is an interesting one because both teams look like they still want to do a bit of business in the transfer window. We know Brennan Johnson has been linked with a move away. He's a pivotal player for Nottingham Forest. Chelsea still looking to kind of do a few more little deals by the looks of things as well. But the thing about Chelsea is the likes of Raheem Sterling today wasn't called up for the England squad, even though he's shown probably the best form of his life post Man City. He had a terrible year last year for Chelsea. But he'll be out to make a point in relation to that, to show Southgate what he's missing out on. So I have a funny feeling this will be a Chelsea win, comprehensive enough, probably 3-1.
Yeah. And I think because Raheem Sterling has supposedly come back into form.
Yeah.
I think that Nottingham Forest, give them their due, they are not a pushover. And Wani has been scoring very well. But it's not just him. I think they are working well under Steve Cooper. So I don't think Chelsea will have it all their own way. I think Forest will give them a run for their money. And this could be a potential banana skin for Chelsea if they want to be back in the top 4 kind of team. And I think Forest could get something out of this game. Even though they may be seen as underdogs. So I think, I would so love Forest to beat Chelsea. That would make my heart sing with glee that they got beaten. So I would love for Forest to win 2-1. But having said that, I think Chelsea will score like 1-1. Okay. But I would really dearly love Forest to win.
Because it's interesting. It's a big. Yeah, it's a big game for both teams, really. Forest down in 14, 3 points from 3 games. Not a great return so far from Stevie. And, of course, Chelsea in 10th with 4 points from 3 games. So both teams, this is a big game for them. But I think Chelsea, I think with the boy Jackson getting off the mark there last week, I think is huge for them. I think with Raheem's form at the moment is probably going to be huge for them. But it'll definitely be interesting. It depends on what way Stevie sets up and whether, I suppose we have to take into account as well whether Brendan Johnson at the time will still be a Nottingham Forest player. So it's all that kind of conundrum, so very hard to predict. But I think on the face of it, I think Chelsea will have too much for them. But Stevie, look, would it surprise if Stevie went and destroyed the game? That's the way he normally does with a smash and grab. could happen. But I think Forest might be a little bit too open for Chelsea, and I think Chelsea will eventually break them down. Man City versus Fulham.
Oh gosh. I think if Fulham still had Mitrovic, I maybe could have seen something happen here.
Big up Panaf.
But I think City, it's a foregone conclusion. I think City will smash Fulham 2-3-0.
Yeah,
I don't think Fulham have a chance.
Yeah, I think the big thing for Fulham as well is the talk was if Gravenberch was leaving Munich, which looks like that's the plan. The talk was they were bringing in Palhinha off Fulham. Now, if they lose him, he is the absolute rock of their midfield there and stuff like that. So if he's to go and Mitrovic goes, Fulham are going to be in trouble. They haven't started great. 4 points from 3 games. They've struggled. And they don't look like anything like the Fulham of last season. -2 goal difference as well. So they're shipping goals. But I think you're right. I think this is nothing but a City win. I think it'll be very difficult for Fulham to get anything out of this. I think City are just too strong at the moment. They're on a wave.
Yeah, but that business with Carvalho, when he left Fulham to come to Liverpool, that was a total mess, and probably should never have happened because he never really got any chance to play. So I think now that he's moved on from Fulham, I think he will have better game time. But I still think City are too strong for Fulham.
Yeah, I think so. 7:30 or 5:30, sorry, the evening kickoff. Brighton versus Newcastle, which could be one of the games of the weekend. Brighton doing really, really well. 6 points in 3 games, +4 goal difference. Look like they're just taking up where they left off. Don't look like they're struggling too much in terms of losing McAllister and Caicedo, to name but a few. They've brought in some really good young talent in there as well under the Serbi. And I think Newcastle at the moment is an interesting one, isn't it? Newcastle have kind of struggled this season. I know we did the smash and grab on them last week down to 10 men and stuff like that, and that would have hurt them a lot. That was a poor result for them considering they were in such control of that game. And they're down there in 13th at the moment. So if Brighton were to beat them at the weekend, it could get a whole lot worse and start getting a little bit toxic there, I say, for Eddie Howe. They're after pulling a tough draw in the Champions League. We'll be talking about that shortly when we get into the review of the Champions League draw. But yeah, this is a big game. Brighton as well. They'll know their European situation after tomorrow's draw as well. But I could see this being 2-2 draw, scoring draw, 2-2, 3-3 maybe. Yeah, I can't separate them because I think Newcastle can only improve because I think they flattered to deceive so far this season. And Brighton look like they're solid enough. And they're at home as well. And the Amex is a tough place to go as well, as we well know as Liverpool fans. It's not an easy place to go against Brighton. And they still have a lot of the boys in there in March and stuff like that who do really well for them. The boy Matoma, who's excellent. So yeah, I could see it being this being a 2-2 draw, which doesn't help Newcastle's position at the moment. Of course, Brighton would be quite happy because Newcastle being viewed now as a top 4 team and stuff like that as well, to take points off and be good.
Yeah, I think this is the tie of the round by a long way because, like you said, when Caicedo signed for Chelsea, I was having thoughts of how is this going to affect Brighton on the pitch. But since he's been gone, Brighton are still playing really good football. They've got Matoma still. They've got Lallana still. They've now got James freaking Lactose Milner. Yep. So I think Brighton are a very good side under De Zerbi.
Zerbi. Yeah.
And then you come to Newcastle. Oh boy, what a game when they played us. Should have had more cards, and Newcastle should have had a player sent off. But referee thought otherwise. I shouldn't have booked Trent, really, because he was fouled. So yes, I think it will be a draw because you cannot split them. They are both play without fear, flowing football from side to side. They move the ball quickly between players, up to the striker. Their movement, everything is smooth. It's just their temperament with Newcastle. So, yes, I think a 2-2 draw would be fair result for them.
Yeah, Morris in the comments. Eddie Howe is only a stopgate manager, anyways.
Well,
interesting. I'm not sure whether Eddie Howe will still be in charge of Newcastle by the end of this season. I'd say it'll be an interesting move for them. I think they'll want to step up into. I'm not going to say a more elite manager because I think Eddie Howe is a very, very good coach and a very, very good manager. But I think if Newcastle want to step up into that and maintain that higher level and stuff like that, I think they need maybe a much more influential manager in terms of attracting players in. Now, they brought in Tonali and all. He looks really good. They brought in Alexander Isak. So they have brought in players, but I don't know. I think for Newcastle this season, it could be a tough one, especially trying to balance the Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday conundrum with the Champions League. And they are in a tough group we will talk about later and stuff like that. So every game in that Champions League group for them is going to feel like a cup final.
It'll be a good test in that Champions League group. A
huge test. And I could see them potentially. They might even drop into the Europa and come up against us maybe in Europe at the tail end of the new year and stuff like that. And also, let's see what happens. Yeah, absolutely. Considering the heat between himself and Klopp. Yeah. Acers is in talking about Gary O'Neill under massive pressure if Wolves don't get a result on Sunday. Wolves against Palace. That's going to be a tough one. Not an easy place to go either, Selhurst Park. And of course, Wolves probably travelling there known. They probably won't have Mateus Nunes. It looks like he's on his way to Man City and stuff like that. So that's going to be a tough one for them. They've emptied the tank there a little bit in terms of the quality of talent that they had. So it will be a tough one. The only one thing I would say about Wolves, I think they're one of the teams in the division that can feel very hard done by because they really should have beaten Man United that day. They played so well against them, did everything bar score, and then United nicked it. But I think if you go back and you look at that game, Wolves will be kicking themselves. They should be on 6 points at this stage, and then it'd be a very different situation. But
they've got to take their chances.
Absolutely. Morris is in. How has Southgate left Raheem out of the England squad and Ben White? Morris, I do not know. I will never understand any of the thinking around Gareth Southgate's selection choices. I don't know how he picks his favourites. I don't know how he picks players that don't even play football at their clubs. I've never seen anything like it in my life. I just think it's absolutely crazy. And to have such a pool of talented players at your disposal, I think is absolute madness. I think Raheem Sterling is starting to show the talent that he was at Liverpool even. He's really rolled back the clock this season. Looks a brilliant player under Poch. The Ben White one for me is that's probably kind of a weirder one as well, Morris, because as you know, Arteta is for his woes is playing players out of position and stuff like that at the moment. But yeah, Ben White's a great shout as well. He should be. But I think the Ben White issue stems back to when he went home, remember? I think Southgate just has a personal problem with him. and a lot of stuff and a lot of crap came out after that. So I think you're not going to see Ben White probably in an England squad again unless there's either massive, massive amounts of injuries in relation to his position or until there's a managerial change. I think Ben White should be in the squad and definitely be in the England squad. The fact that he's not in there will tell you there's a problem with him and this issue that came up with the coaching staff. And I'd say Southgate is just staying with the allegiance to his coaching staff, and that's why Ben White isn't there. It's not based on talent and it's not based on form.
But I think also Southgate has come out and said that he will step down at the end of the Euros, I think, if we don't do well. Am I right in saying that?
Well, I think that's probably going to be the case anyway, because that if he does the Euros, then what's that? He's had 4 tournaments, maybe. I'm not too sure. I haven't counted them.
He's been manager for 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah, he's probably covered. What's he covered at this stage? Probably this would be his. If he gets to the finals of this one, it'd be his third one or his fourth one at this stage. So who knows? Like if he can't get them over the line, because he's never had. When you look at the talent on the pool of players he has at his disposal, and he basically he's his own worst enemy basically, because he doesn't pick players generally outside of the league. Harry Kane will probably be the exception, of course. But he doesn't pick players generally outside of the league. He doesn't pick the best players available to him. So the likes of Tomori and stuff like that, because he's playing in Italy, he's not seen as being that selection choice and stuff like that. It's crazy. Yeah, Tomori has been absolutely excellent. But there's lots of other things around as well. He's picking Maguire, hasn't kicked the ball for United.
Oh, yeah, gosh.
You know, he's picking different players and stuff like that. But you can see the writing is on the wall here. We know this is the way he is, that he doesn't pick the best players in the best positions that are available at that time, based on form and based on playing for your club. Like Harry Maguire sitting on the bench all season, and he's into the team and will probably play. It's crazy stuff. Yeah, let's not forget who the owners are and why they are there. Eddie overachieved last year, which will be to his detriment. Yeah, he's definitely raised the bar and stuff like that. And in fairness to the owners that are there as well, they have brought in players and they have given them money to spend. So it's not like they kind of shortchanged him around like that. They brought him in, you know, as you said, Morris, as a bit of a stopgap and stuff like that. He is a very good coach. There's no doubt about it. Whether he's a coach at that elite level, for a consistent top 4 club competing in Europe and in the league, I don't know. Certainly they have the finances to do it. I'm just not sure. It takes a lot to convince a player to move to Newcastle. And especially if you're a top player playing in a Spanish league or an Italian league, and you're embedded in that kind of culture and the weather and all that kind of stuff, and you're being asked to head up to Newcastle. And Newcastle is a great city, great fan base, great social stuff, all that kind of stuff. But I just think you need a certain type of manager there to bring in a certain profile of player to lift you in there consistently. And I'm not sure whether Eddie is that guy or not. Now, I'm 100% enjoying the documentary. I really like Newcastle, the fan base and stuff like that. I was as happy as anyone when they got taken over and stuff like that. I think if there was ever a fan base in the Premier League that deserved managers with money to go in there, I think Newcastle was that one, after dealing with the other lad, Mike Ashley, for so many years, which was horrific. But we'll see what happens. It's whether they can attract in those players and whether Eddie is the guy to attract them in. We will see. I'm not too sure. Let's get into Sunday. Crystal Palace versus Wolves. Acer's Gary O'Neill says he's under pressure if he doesn't pick up a win or get a result on Sunday.
Which one is Sky actually doing? If it's
Sky.
Not game.
Well, I presume the 2:00 is going to be Palace and Wolves, and I presume the 4:30 is going to be Arsenal Man United. I think actually the Liverpool Villa game, I think, was the one that was originally pitched for the Monday night. And I think they brought it back because of the international break, as far as I know, I think.
Right. Well, Crystal Palace Wolves. If Nunes goes to City, that'll be another huge loss for Wolves. They're basically selling all their players that were ever good for them. And the shell that he's got left, it's like rebuilding the whole squad. And then you've got Roy Hodgson with City, with Crystal Palace, sorry. I think Wolves are relegation fodder. And I think Palace, gosh, without Zaha, because that was their mainstay of scoring goals, relying on Zaha's goals. Apart from Eze and Elise, who have pitched in.
I think keeping Elise was huge for them, wasn't it? Because it looked like he was going to go at one stage to Chelsea as well.
I think it will be a slim win for Palace. 1-0.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not too far off that either. Yeah, I think it could be even. I don't know. I don't think there'll be a lot in it for Wolves. I think Sellers Park is a tough place to go, and especially when you're looking for a result. But no. Maybe I'm gonna go with a Palace win because I think Palace. I think they just have a bit more in them. So yeah, I'm gonna go Palace because they're at home.
Yeah, I think that's what they're doing. They're clearing out the base of their squad.
Yeah, they've
they're
ripped out.
Rebuilding the whole lot.
Yeah, but they're running out of time. There is no time now to rebuild. Tomorrow's the day. You know, Mateus Nunes goes to City today or this evening or tomorrow. They're not going to be able to do anything unless they're able to pull a quick few loan deals or something like that. And they've ripped the heart out of the midfield. Ruben Neves, Matinho. There's so many players have gone out of there, you know. So it's a very different looking Wolves.
I think they are doomed, Wolves, really.
Yeah, I tipped them to go down based on the players they had lost and based on the change of manager. And look, Lopetegui got out of there as quick as he could, you know what I mean? So obviously the feeling around the place wasn't very positive in terms of players in, and he could see that these players were obviously going to go out. Ruben Neves going to Saudi Arabia, you know, it was an absolute madness. He went for the money, got a great deal and stuff like that. But that was a midfielder who was in his prime. You would have expected him to stay and make a big move to one of the bigger Premier League clubs or something like that. But he got out of town pretty quick. So it's not good at Wolves at the moment, yeah. And I would tip them to go down.
But there could be surprises.
There could.
There usually is with Premier League.
Yeah, absolutely. Morris is asking our thoughts on Vera Pauw being let go and Kenny continuing. Yeah, it's not great. But look, this is no surprise at all. We've seen the absolute nonsense that was put out there prior to the World Cup to derail the whole situation, and it was horrible to see the way it unfolded and stuff like that. And I think over the next couple of games and stuff like that, we'll get very close to see what the situation is with Kenny as well. I don't see him being around too much longer either, depending on how results go and stuff like that. But I think we all knew, regardless. I think even if Ireland, you know, had got to the latter stages of the World Cup, I think they had decided that after the tournament she was going to go and that was it. So I don't think that would have changed, to be honest. But yeah, just Morris, we should expect no different, should we? Aces is in. Saudi owners won't be too happy if Newcastle finish fourth in the group. Absolutely not.
They won't be at all because of the amount of money they pumped into the club already. So, no, I mean, they would want to be third or better come May next year. Yeah. So, or even challenging City for the title. So, but who knows? Anything can happen.
I think if they feel they're going to challenge City for the title, they're probably just a bit deluded.
Yeah.
The other 2 o'clock game, Liverpool versus Aston Villa. This is sure to be an absolute cracker. Klopp versus Emery is always a tantalising match.
Unai Emery against Jurgen Klopp. Battle the managers. Well, without Virgil van Dijk, because he's banned, it's going to be Alisson in goal. Gomez, Matip. Is there any worry about Kanate?
I haven't heard an update. I presume he's going to be available for it, but we'll get the press conference tomorrow.
Because
probably be Kanate and Joe Gomez, I'd imagine, at the back if he's available. If not, then it'll be Matip and Gomez.
Are we going to go like 3-4-3, or are we going to have Trent? If is Kanate fit, then it'd be Trent, Gomez, Kanate, Gomez, Robbo, and then McAllister, Szoboszlai, and Enzo.
Could be Endo, could be Gravenberch, who knows?
But I know it's a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then Lucho, Darwin has got to start, and Gakpo on the bench, and Salah on the right. But knowing Klopp, I think he would go the 4-3-3 and have the flat back four. Even without Virgil van Dijk. Villa, Ollie Watkins. Have they sold Coutinho?
Yeah, I think he's moved on. Yeah, he wasn't playing much. I mean, he hasn't played much under Emery. You know, he's been kind of used as a utility player. But the new boy he brought in, Diaby, is very dangerous. You know, Jacob Ramsey is in there, is dangerous. McGinn is dangerous. Like, they have a lot of attacking threat there, Villa, and that's what we're going to have to be careful on. Especially runs from deep with Diaby as well, because Diaby's very strong and very powerful. And that's what we'll need to be aware of. But I won't give too much away. I think Liverpool will win, but I think it'll be a tight enough win for both teams to score and Liverpool win. But we will be doing a preview tomorrow night. And just to preface that preview, I don't think Darwin Núñez starts on Sunday. There you go.
It's going to be a toughie.
Yeah.
That's for sure. Whether it's being aired or not, I think I will never bet against us because that would be carnage.
Yeah.
I'll go for a 2-1 Liverpool win.
Yep. Sounds about right. Morris is right. Emery cooking, absolutely. I think Villa are going to be very impressive this year. Very impressive.
So I can't. It could possibly be a draw because it'd be like hammer and tongues. But it all depends what Klopp goes with, the starting 11, and who he has on the bench. So I think it's safe to go with a 2-1 win because at least Villa, who are a good side, can get at least one. So we might be weakened because of Virgil and who we play in the back four.
Yeah.
Which could determine whether we lose or what. I don't know, but it would be
interesting.
I'd be intently looking at that starting 11, who he chooses to play in the back four, and what formation he chooses to play, and who he starts up front.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you think about this as well, if there's any truth at all to this Saudi situation with
Mm,
Salah, then does Salah start and play on Sunday? That's going to be very interesting as well.
it will be.
Because if he's on the bench or if he doesn't start, then there's a lot more truth to this Saudi deal than meets the eye. It's going to be so interesting. God
And do you
knows what the
want the
formation is going to be.
inverted, or
Yeah.
do you want like Trent to be moved up to midfield, or do you want him to be inverted?
I think if he goes with Endo, I think he'll stay in the two and he won't be inverted. I think if he puts Gravenberch in there, I think he'll invert Trent in into a pivot with Gravenberch, which I'm really excited to see. I think
Mm,
that could be very exciting pairing
right.
in there.
Okay.
But again, you just have to be so careful with Villa. Emery
Mm,
is a master of working things out and working counter formations out and stuff like that and all. We've seen what Villa can do to us, and we've seen what Emery can do to Klopp. There's history there. Of all the managers to come up against, apart from kind of Pep and stuff like that, Emery's one of those guys that can figure Klopp out very quick. So we're going to have to be careful. But the unknown still exists. Will Darwin start, or is he
mm,
better springing from the bench? To what way? How do we deal with Jota, who was excellent coming on as well? But again, sometimes when he starts,
mm,
maybe not as good. Will there be a conundrum around the Salah
mm,
situation as it progresses over the next few days, especially in the next 24 hours? But we know the Saudi window, I don't think it closes either until the 7th or the 20th. I'm not too sure. They need clarification on that. So it's hard to know what way it's going to go over the next 24 hours. It'll be interesting. I mean, obviously, Gravenberch has to have his medical, has to be passed, and has to be registered and signed. So there's still a lot to happen there that
mm,
could go wrong. So let's see what happens. But certainly, Super Sunday is going to be absolutely amazing this week. Crystal Palace Wolves is going to be electric. Liverpool Villa is going to be class. Real battle of the minds between Emery and Klopp. And Arsenal versus Man United, the script writes itself. That's your
mm.
Super Sunday at 4:30. Arsenal versus Man United. What are we thinking on this?
Oh, guy. Can't stand Manchester United. Um, but I have friends in the Arsenal camp. Um, I would dearly love Arsenal to win. Um, but because they let Tierney go, it's going to be a huge loss for Arsenal. Um,
Well, they kind of weren't using him, were they? I mean, that's kind of part of the reason that he went. They believe he was surplus of requirements, which is crazy. And what they're doing is they're moving bodies around into different positions and stuff like that. Now, I suppose going into it, it's at the Emirates, so that gives Arsenal a distinct advantage. You look at United at the moment; they're carrying injuries. Varane is injured,
mm,
Shaw's injured, so they're going to have to make shift a little bit there. They're also struggling to get players out the door. They want McTominay gone, they want Maguire gone,
mm,
but don't look like they're going anywhere. One day to go. They're looking at bringing in Regulon. They were linked with. They've been
mm,
linked with Cucurella. They were linked with Gravenberch, of course. They're trying to get Amrabat over
yes.
the line, but Amrabat's been hanging around waiting for a sale to happen, and now it looks like it's going to be a loan. And the first offer of £1 million loan is just absolutely insulting to Fiorentina, to say the least. To the point where if I was Fiorentina, I would have told United to go away. I'm not dealing with them, and get Amrabat to rethink his new home and stuff like that. So I think, will they get one of those or two of those over the line? I think they probably will. It looks like they're
Mm,
going to be low moves, but they sound like real. Apart from Amrabat, they sound like real sort of stopgaps. Like Cucurella sounds like a
mm,
stopgap move. Regulon sounds like a stopgap move. You know what I mean? They can't be Ten Hag. You know, they can't be his
mm,
targets and stuff like that. But obviously they're strangled at the moment financially with financial fair play. They probably have money, but they just can't spend it, or they're
mm,
going to break the rules. Um, so yeah, it's a huge game on Sunday, and it's come up really quick as well. And it's an interesting dynamic there, because you've got Arsenal, who have been free spending and bringing in the players that they want, and you've got Man United, who have brought in some players. Obviously, the
mm,
fitness of Højlund as well. Is Højlund going to be able to play? They've brought him in, Rasmus Højlund, so he'll be pivotal to them as well. Because the one thing looking at United so far this season is they've kind of struggled a little bit goals-wise, and also they're playing players out of position, and also their midfield looks a little bit imbalanced. Mason Mount is obviously out injured now as well. So they've no Mount, no Varane, no Luke Shaw, which are three big players for them and stuff like that. So this could be, this could be a coming out moment for Arsenal, if you like, in terms of a result and stuff like that. I think United will battle hard, but I think Arsenal might just have a bit too much for them. And I wouldn't be surprised if Acers is right there with a 3-1 or a 4-1. I think United, they got out of jail with Nottingham Forest. I know they created a lot of chances, but they didn't take them. They can't put the ball in the back of the net. I think Forest were very unlucky going down to 10 men, very unlucky with the Rashford body check. But I think even when Forest went down to 10 men, I think they battled hard against United. And at times in that last 10, 15 minutes, it felt like United were down to 10 men, not Forest. And I think when you look at the attacking options that Arteta has at Arsenal, and the energy and the youth and that kind of drive from those boys, they'll have experienced it last year, a taste of going close in the title race. They'll want to be back in there again. And this is one of those big games in the season where it will define, how you kick on and stuff like that. So I think it's a big game at the weekend. I expect Arsenal to win. I think Man United, with the players they've lost, I think those players are just too much to lose. And I think it could galvanise them, but I doubt it very much.
Yeah, I would like Acers to be absolutely spot on. And because Manchester doesn't have a recognised striker still, and relying on the likes of Rashford, and they've got all that unsettled thing about you know who?
Yeah.
I'm not going to say his name because he doesn't deserve to have one after what he did.
Allegedly.
But and there's no love lost between Arsenal and Manchester either.
Yeah.
So I would go the same as Acers. And it would be a win for Arsenal 3-1.
Cool. Morris is in. If Kai Havertz plays, we lose. He needs to be binned immediately. Awful signing.
Yes.
No messing around there. No mince your words. We did say when he was coming in, we still have to figure out why did Arteta buy him and what did he buy him for? What was the plan? No one seems to understand. He's played in a number of positions now over the last number of weeks. So I'm wondering, did Mikel Arteta even know what he wanted him for, or was it just a case where he wanted to sign a player? It's a very strange one. He's been pretty poor so far this season, so we'll see what happens. Right, that's a roundup of our Premier League predictions, so we will see. It should be interesting to see how they go. Let's take a look at the Carabao Cup draw from last night. Essentially, mainly the Premier League teams. Anything jump out at you there? Anything that you're seeing or that you liked or you disliked or you'd be worried about? I think we got a nice little tie at Anfield against Leicester. So that should be a good game.
Yeah, I did the live watch along with the cup games. There's lots of tasty ties. If I can just pull out a couple of them. There's Brentford against Arsenal, which is a tasty tie.
Yeah.
You've got Chelsea versus Brighton.
Yeah.
Leicester City will be absolutely sick to the back teeth of getting Liverpool yet again.
Yeah.
But then you've got to remember that Jamie Vardy is still at Leicester City, part of the furniture. And of course, Newcastle versus City.
Yeah, I think Newcastle versus City and Chelsea versus Brighton. Kind of the toys. I know Brentford, Arsenal there as well. They're kind of the toys. And of course, Villa, Everton as well. Like, it was a great draw actually last night. United, Crystal Palace. You're potentially looking at what? 1, 2, 3, 4, five Premier League teams going out in this round. That's quite a sizable chunk to get 5 all Premier League ties at this stage, you know. So it should be really, really interesting to see what way that goes. Um, the Graham Potter derby, Chelsea versus Brighton.
Yeah, I mean, there's potential upsets. Ipswich beating Wolves. You've got Exeter beating Luton. What else have you got?
I'd expect Villa to beat Everton.
Well, I mean, I forgot about the Lincoln West Ham game when I was doing the draw because I must have missed that game altogether.
Yeah.
But yes, and then you've got banana skins because it's. I mean, how many teams actually play their full strength side in a third round? Because you've got teams like Spurs who didn't even get to the third round. They got beaten.
This is of course around the time where European football nearly kicks off.
Yeah, so whenever you have a competition and you have underdogs, I always like to have the underdogs winning because otherwise it goes stale and it's like all the main clubs that are getting through each round after round. So I think I'm going for the underdogs to win, but we could see the same particular sides in the fourth round, because it would be like for Liverpool against Leicester, like we won last time 3-1, I think it was, when we played them, but that was in the FA Cup. So, I would like Brighton to beat Chelsea. Brentford could cause Arsenal some woes. But I would also look out for Burnley, who's playing Salford. I expect Burnley to win that game. That would be a disaster if they come a cropper with Salford, because Burnley are so much better than Salford. So
Norwich Fulham could be an interesting one. Fulham Norwich. That's quite an interesting one.
Well, I think that would be what happens with the transfers.
Yeah.
If they can get transfers over the line before the deadline, then that could greatly improve their chances of progressing.
It's so difficult to predict it because you just don't know what teams they're going to field. You know, a lot of teams here are still are going to be involved in the Champions League, the Europa League, the league. There's going to be so much going on. It'll be interesting to see. The only thing I'd say, City with Pep, you know, whatever team he fields is going to be a strong team anyway. But that's going to be a tasty trip up to St. James's there as well. And Newcastle will want to. They've had a taste of Wembley. They'll probably want another taste of it again. But it'll be interesting to see. You know, it was Pep who kind of, you know, Southampton, he binned off the Carabao Cup last year, didn't he? And that kind of cost him. He really, if you look back on reflection, he probably could have done the quad if he had wanted.
Yes,
you know,
I mean,
Southampton did well against him.
Yeah, because if you look at Newcastle, what are they actually prioritising? Are they prioritising the fact that they got top 4 and so they are in the Champions League, or are they prioritising the Premier title, or are they prioritising the cup competitions this season?
I think what Newcastle have to do, especially based on the draw that we look at shortly, I think they'll have to prioritise potentially trying to pick up a domestic cup because they got a taste of a final last year. They'll want to go one step forward. And then I think maybe probably solidifying a position in a top 5 to cement their position in the Champions League as an ongoing thing. Because I think if you can repeat that and you can get into a rhythm of being continually in the Champions League, that really helps you to draw in a higher level of quality player and stuff like that. So I think that's pivotal for them. But I mean, their view, I mean, look, we know by their ownership will want to win. They're driven to win. That's what they're planning there. Morris in the comments here, Spurs' only chance of a trophy gone already. And Acers, Tottenham's season officially finished on Tuesday night.
That's bold.
Absolutely. But not too bold a prediction, because this is what happens. This is the reality of them, isn't it, really?
Well, they should have made more of an effort. But if they didn't want to have any say in the cup competitions, then they should have just played their under-21s with a mixture of under-18s. But to go out so early for a club like Spurs, they just did it to themselves and became Spursy. So I don't think they have any chance of getting any trophies again this season.
Yeah.
Because the FA Cup is not for another 3 months, but if they get injuries, they cannot rely on the likes of Son, Kuleski, etc., because they were relying heavily on Kane, but now he's gone.
They get
spending. They relying on?
They get spending that Kane money between now and January anyway. That'll definitely happen anyway. Morris is in. Newcastle will be better off in the Europa. They're getting the sex before the foreplay. Love that. Love that comment, Morris. Excellent stuff.
But they would get their taste of Champions League, so that if they get back in next season,
they'll have more experience.
They will have their experience.
And also look a much more appealing prospect as well for a player potentially interested in going there. Because the profile of Newcastle will be raised greatly by being in the Champions League. Speaking of the Champions League, let's get into it. You analysed this. You did a watch along. Was it for the draw?
Well, I will probably be doing a watch along of some sort during the group stages. Picking out whatever games that are on. Maybe I can have some guests as well, but like I said, I think it's going to be group of deaths, way fun, but the ones that I predicted to go into the Europa League will be will make the Champions League more cliched, because it'll be the main teams that are going to the sudden death.
Yeah. Well, let's do a quick rundown on it then, and we'll do a quick predictor of who are the two teams we think will come out of each group. And what we can do is, when it's all done and dusted, we can revisit it against this, just for a bit of fun. Group A, for me, it's Bayern and United. Copenhagen, I think, will struggle as they do, and Galatasaray, I think, will struggle. But you know what's going to be interesting? I think, isn't it, Wilfried Zaha? Didn't he go to Galatasaray, wasn't he? I think. So it'll be interesting to see. That'll be an interesting game against United and Bayern. Because Bayern did want them and United sort of got rid of them, but we're interested in taking them back as well. So that'll be interesting. But for me, Group A is Bayern and Man United going through, yeah? Do you agree with that one?
Well, I mean, Galatasaray are not the teams that they used to be. I haven't got a clue on Copenhagen at all because I've never seen them play. I put Bayern top, even though they've lost certain players. They still have a good side now with Harry Kane, who is playing so well.
Yeah, they've made some good signings as well. Kim Min Jae at the back as well. They've brought in some quality players as well. Once Kane is in your team, you're practically guaranteed goals. And it's going to be really interesting to see how Kane performs now in the Champions League, isn't it, at Bayern?
Yeah.
He seems to be doing really well in the league at the moment.
I think Bayern would be top, but it'd be a fight between Galatasaray and Man U for second.
Okay. Interesting.
And I think Copenhagen will be bottom.
Okay. Group B. Sevilla, Arsenal, PSV, and Lyon. Not Lyon. Lyon, I should say. Lyons.
Well, like I said to you, Arsenal have such a poor record in Europe. And with PSV winning last night, beating Rangers, so there's only one Scottish side in the draw, being Celtic. It's a poor showing from Scottish teams. And with Sevilla playing City in the last final, and also the final being at Wembley this year. I don't know much about Lens. So Arsenal, I don't know whether they could be top of the group because Sevilla or PSV, sorry. Oh, choices. I hate that. I don't think Arsenal can get top.
Okay.
Even though they've got Saka, Martinelli, and Havertz, because I think Havertz is a waste of money. They shouldn't have bought him, but I think that was a deal that was for something else. With Chelsea, with what they were doing. I've gone for Sevilla to finish top of the group.
Yeah.
But Arsenal and PSV to fight out for second. And then Lens to finish bottom.
Okay. I think Arsenal will top the group based on their home form. I don't see them dropping points at home. So I think they'll put 9 points on the board from their home form. I think it's the away form might be a little bit iffy. I'd expect them to beat Lens. They'll probably have enough to beat PSV, and then it'll be a question of the first and second in this group will either be Arsenal or Sevilla. I think Arsenal will top it because I think Arsenal will beat Sevilla at home. But I think Sevilla will beat Arsenal probably in Spain. But I think based on the goal difference, I think Arsenal will take a top and Sevilla be second. I think sometimes you look at PSV and you look at some of these Dutch teams and no disrespect them and stuff like that. They look really, really good in the Dutch league. But I think when they step out of that, it's a massive, massive step up. Massive step up. So, Group C.
Well, again, it's Braga will finish bottom because I believe Union Berlin will beat them twice because they are doing so well in the Bundesliga. So I think Braga will finish bottom. Union Berlin will be third. And then we go to Napoli and Real Madrid. Oh gosh, Napoli with the Serie A. And Real Madrid with La Liga, with fighting with Barca. You can't split them, but because I don't like Madrid, and because Napoli still have Victor Osimhen, I don't think he's left the side.
No.
And others, and all this business with Mbappe sitting out of PSG because he wants to go to Real Madrid. There isn't a place for him at Real Madrid because Bellingham is lightening up Real Madrid like crazy. So I think he's throwing out his toys of the Prem. So I'm putting Napoli top of the group. And I'm putting Real Madrid second. Union Berlin third and Braga bottom.
Yeah, I think it'll be the other way around. I think Madrid will top it and Napoli be second. But I think Napoli will do well again this year. I think they'll probably be kind of disappointed in the way they went out of the tournament last year. They were really, really good in the tournament, playing really, really well. And Milan put them out. And they would have been really disappointed in that because they were playing really, really well up to those two games. Group D, Benfica, Inter, Salzburg and Real Sociedad. This is Benfica and Inter, isn't it, really? Can't see either of the other two doing much in it.
Group D, oh gosh. Benfica, Inter, Salzburg, Sociedad. But we know what happened with Benfica when Nunes was in the side, how he beat us. And Inter with all the issues surrounding Romelu Lukaku.
They're no longer issues.
Yes. Salzburg. And Sociedad is Xabi Alonso as manager. I think still. So a hard group to predict. Because when it first came out, I really don't know what to put for Group D at all. Other than maybe Sociedad for third, Salzburg being bottom, because Inter and Benfica would be fighting for first and second. But I don't know with that group.
Yeah. No problem. Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio and Celtic.
Right, I hate being put on the spot. I don't know. Let's go into Milan top and Benfica second.
Yeah, that's
Sociedad
okay.
third and Salzburg fourth.
Yeah, that's okay on that one, yeah. So Group E, Feyenoord, Atletico, Lazio, and Celtic.
We'll start from the bottom because that's more easier.
Yeah.
Celtic, bottom.
Yeah.
Even though they are ripping up the Scottish Prem because that's defunct league, they will always win the Scottish Prem. Third will be either Lazio or Feyenoord. And the winners of the group will be Atletico Madrid.
Okay, that's a good show. Group F.
F.
That's going to be the interesting one.
Oh, God. Sorry to all Geordie fans, but Newcastle bottom. But I would so love it to be different. Believe me. Dortmund. Oh. Dortmund third.
Yeah.
AC Milan. Pipping PSG for top. And PSG finished second.
That's a good shout. That would be my thinking as well. Milan top and Paris second. Great shout. I like that.
Because that's a group of death for those three teams. If you take out Newcastle.
Yeah. Group G. Man City, Leipzig.
Easiest
and Young
group.
Boys.
They always seem to get the easiest group. City. They will finish top. City.
Yeah.
Leipzig will be second.
Yeah.
We've played Red Star Belgrade and gave us a real fright. So
They'll
I'm
be
going
third, won't it? It'll finish the way it looks there, won't it? City, Leipzig, Red Star, and Young Boys.
Well, that'll be the game of the group. I think Red Star Belgrade will finish third, and Young Boys will be last.
Yeah, same as it's laid out there.
Even though they won tonight.
Group H.
And the last group. Well, Royal Antwerp would be bottom.
Yeah.
Shakhtar Donetsk will be third.
Yeah.
Porto will be second.
Yeah. Barca top.
And the leaders will be Barcelona. I can't see Porto beating Barcelona.
Yeah. Yeah, I think those two bottom groups there, G and H, will finish exactly how they look there on the page.
But
I'm in agreement
it's
with
football.
you there.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. So that rounds out our analysis of the group stage draw for the Champions League. So that brings us to the final part of our show, which is Beat the Bookie. Always a bit of fun where we give our picks and tips. Always gamble aware, of course,
Well,
folks.
I haven't got much time left.
Yeah, no bother. We've about 3-4 minutes to go anyway. That's it.
I've actually got to go because I've got a show at 10.
Yeah, no problem. Pop off there then. Thanks for coming along. Make sure, folks, you subscribe to Henry's channel, Henry Ray Baker. What's coming up at 10, Henry?
I'm doing the Persuaders from 1970s, but because people have given me ideas to put on the channel, I'm finding it hard because sometimes it's not what I like, but I want to still keep the people watching. But from what I've been told by someone in my chat only recently, they said that 90% of my channel is all bots. That nobody nobody's watching. And I'm basically talking to myself. So I don't know what to make of that. It hurts me because I've worked so hard to put my channel together. Because if you go back 5 years ago, I wouldn't have given it a second thought. But for someone to come in my chat and start and be friendly with me, and then say, because I made them mod of my channel because I had other mods and they weren't turning up. So I made this bloke a mod because I thought, let's give him a chance. So he started coming in my channel and everything was fine. But then he started to try and help me, take me out of my comfort zone and give me all these ideas which I've taken on board.
Well, do you want the best advice?
But
Morris has given you the best advice. Do only what you like, Henry.
But I don't know what to think. Is my channel full of bots, or is it because people don't like me or what? I don't know. So
I wouldn't say so. You're churning out lots and lots of content and stuff like that, and people are tuning in. You're getting the views. Don't believe what people say to you about that stuff. There's no way of confirming it, but there's no way of denying it either. But I wouldn't believe that. Go with what you like. As Morris said, cover the stuff that you like.
Yeah. So I mean, it's helping my mental health because I'm trying to stay away from negativity. But by joining this channel, I thought it was something that I could do, like with the football, because that's what people were saying.
Yeah.
But now people don't turn up even for the football. So I just can't win. So yes, sorry I've got to leave because
yeah, no hassle at all.
I have to get my live ready.
Yeah.
But thank you very much for allowing me to come on your channel, Niall.
Pleasure
I always
as
give you a shout out when I do my lives to help your channel grow even more. Thank you to Morris and Daz and Acers for being here tonight. But if people don't like my channel, then that's just their fault. I'm not going to change for them.
Exactly. As Morris said, do only what you like, Henry. Do your thing. Well, thank you for joining me. As always, a pleasure as always to do a show with you. I'll push on and finish off now with the rest of the Beat the Bookie side of things. And you have a real good show. Don't be worrying. Don't be getting derailed or thinking in any way about other stuff. Go and enjoy your show that's coming up at 10.
Thank you very much. I've got 182 at the moment subscribers, so yes, well.
So push on to 200. Push on. 200 is the target now. Push on to 200.
Yeah. Take care. Bye-bye,
Cheers.
everyone.
Thanks, Henry. Now, folks, let's cover the final part of the show, Beat the Bookie. I'll do a few comments here. First, Daz is in. What's the latest news on that, Morris? I mean, wrestling. And Morris, only update is Daz that everybody thinks they know everything that happens backstage when they don't. Shots fired, Morris. Shots fired. I like that. I like that. Is Jungle Boy still nursing his jaw, is he? No, when's Dazzler back? I think he's traveling back. He said he's back on Saturday. But I have a funny feeling he's traveling back on Saturday, so he wouldn't be back till Sunday. So I'd imagine it's probably Sunday he's going to be back, unless he's traveling back Friday into Saturday. He's coming home from Boston or New York, I think it is. So it's normally an overnight or whatever it is. So that's when I think he's back. He's actually interesting, Dazzler. You asked about, or Daz, you asked about him. He's going to, I think he's going to the tennis, Flushing Meadows, the US Open. He was due to go there or something like that. So we'll see. He'll probably send me some pics and stuff like that, pretty cool. But he's having a great time at the moment. Let's get into Beat the Bookie. Any of you guys having a flutter at the weekend? Of course, drop your picks into the chat there if you want. I've picked out a few for us here. I started off with a handicap bet for the weekend. Picked out 3 teams. Tasty little treble, 14 to 1 just to kick off. Grab a tenner on that, throw your 140 into the kitty there, get you over the weekend. West Ham -1 against Luton. Tottenham -1 against Burnley. And Man City -1 against Fulham. Reasonably safe bet. 14 to 1 it returns. Tenner on that sets you up for the weekend, folks. The second one I did was I think it's both teams. It's win. And no, it's just a straight up win accumulator, this one. West Ham to win, Tottenham to win, Man City to win, Liverpool to win, and Arsenal to win. Returns 10 to 1 straight up in an accumulator. And as Ian says, gamble sensibly and responsibly, of course. Only have fun with it. Don't be going absolutely crazy. The next one up is both result and both teams to score. Dazzler's favourite bet. Said I put it in there this week because he's not here this week, so in there for him. So Tottenham and Burnley both to score and Tottenham to win. Chelsea to win and both to score against Nottingham Forest. Liverpool to win and both to score against Aston Villa. And Arsenal to win and both to score against Man United. And that tasty little 1, 2, 3, 4 accumulator gives you 71 to 1. So there you go, another tidy little bet. And the final one I did was a bet builder. Doesn't give you great odds, of course, when you do some of these bet builders. So Liverpool versus Aston Villa bet builder that I picked out during the week. You know, it may not make sense depending on what happens with Mo Salah and everything, but let's see what happens. So I had Liverpool to win, Mo Salah to score or assist, Liverpool to commit 8 or more fouls, Liverpool goalkeeper to make 1 or more saves, yes to both teams to score, and Liverpool -1 in the handicap bet. And that returns you 7 to 1. Not great odds. Always a tough one with the bet builders. But I think the other 3 are pretty good, especially the result of both the score and the first to -1 treble that I put out there at 14 to 1 is quite a nice, tasty little bet as well. As always, gamble responsibly. Thank you to everyone for joining us on the show this week. Big thank you to Henry stepping into the sea for Darren. Of course, really appreciate that. Make sure, folks, you're subscribing to all the channels. Morris's one is in there, and all the other channels that came in as well, and Henry's as well. So any other channels are in there. Make sure you're subscribing and supporting all those channels. Acers has mentioned, do a live stream for the Europa League draw from the shop. Yeah, I'm not too sure about that. I don't think that will work, but I'll definitely give my reaction to the draw. Probably will do a drive time on the way home tomorrow. Ted's in. Good lad, Henry. Ted, I hope you're having a little flutter at the weekend, as always. And Daz is in. Acers has any more matches being announced for All Out? Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? They don't be in a hurry to announce matches. Surely don't AEW. They like to keep their cards close to their chest. But as always, folks, and subscribe to all the channels. Of course, subscribe to the upper tier. Keep it growing. Share the content. Hit a like on the video. And of course, hit that bell notification, which is mostly important in terms of being notified when we go live. I will be live tomorrow night with an Aston Villa preview for the Shankly sessions. And I'll also be live again at 10 o'clock, deadline day countdown, all the final deals, and a look back on what business the teams have done, which is going to be really, really interesting. Ted's in. They can't announce anything for All Out. Sure, they are currently suspending people. Yeah, absolutely. Isn't it mad you would suspend CM Punk for All Out? It's crazy, isn't it? Mad stuff. But fun and games anyway. On the next time, folks, absolute pleasure, and thanks for tuning in.